Hey, good morning, Lakeview Intermediate. I've got police car glasses on today. These are goofy ones, but I'm laughing as I look at them. It's good to see you all on this wonderful Wednesday, wacky Wednesday morning at the last day of September. Today is September 30th. And so it is the last day of September, and we're going to make it a great one. So a couple of quick announcements this morning before we get into our Admit One advisory. So just some reminders that if you have library books, turn them in, check your spaces at home, cars, vehicles, whatever at home. If you find a library book from any UConn school, please turn it in to us. Second, parent-teacher conferences next week. Just a reminder, if your parents ask you, parent-teacher conferences are virtual. They're over Zoom, and your teacher will contact, your homeroom teacher will meet with your parents, and so they will be contacting them to schedule those conferences this week. And finally, remember that in the morning, doors don't open until 7:10, and all car riders must be picked up by 2:55 in the afternoon. So just a reminder on that. If you're a car rider in the afternoon, ride must be here by 2:55. So remind your parents of that. And in the morning, we don't open up till 7:10. I want everyone to remember that, especially as the weather gets colder. If your parent decides to drop you off really early, it's dark and it's cold and not pleasant. We want you all to be safe. So remember, our doors open at 7:10. And finally, this morning, I'm going to share something really special with you. I'm going to take these off for a moment, but a shout out to Mr. Griswold in Pod 2, our sixth grade geography teacher. He works really hard to connect his students to universities across the country. He wants his students to know that they can reach any goal and strive to go somewhere awesome for schooling, whether it's college or something else, some other training. And he wants his kids to dream big. And so I love that. And he reaches out to universities all the time. And he shared with me this. I have a special letter in my hands that I wanted to share with our school today, because this letter, and I'm gonna move my screen. This letter comes from this man right here. His name is Mike Krzyzewski, I think is how you say his name. You do not want to get his last name in a spelling bee. You will never, I can't get it right. I had to look it up to make sure I had it right. But he is the Duke basketball coach. Does anybody know where Duke is? I wonder if I have any students who know which state Duke is in. You got a guess? Think of a state in your head. Where's Duke at? And I believe, I'm going to give the answer, and I hope I'm right. I believe it's North Carolina. So if you said North Carolina, I think you're right. Look at his record as a coach. 1,157 wins, 350 losses. 350 losses, Mrs. Mann and Miss Conklin have been talking about not giving up and keep trying. 350 losses, that's a lot of days to go home having lost a game. But look at how many times he's won a game. And then he has been the coach of the gold medal USA basketball team in the Olympics. So he's a very accomplished basketball coach. Anyway, he wrote a letter, and at the very top, I don't know if you can see that, but it says, "Dear students of Lakeview," actually wrote a letter to our entire school. So I wanted to read it to you real quick during Liftoff today. And thank you for Mr. Griswold for providing this for us. So, dear students of Lakeview, I recently received a letter from someone who cares for you a great deal and would like you to see you achieve your goals in school, learning, and life. I would like to encourage you to work hard in school and all do your best. The rewards will benefit you tremendously. Do not allow outside pressures to distract you from your positive goals in life. Always remember to be respectful to your parents, teachers, and classmates. My basketball players would never have the opportunity to play for me if they had not done well first in school. In other words, setting priorities is taking care of first things first. In your case, going to school and doing as well as you possibly can is tremendously important. In fact, my players participate in a program called Take a Shot at Reading. They go to elementary schools all over Durham and talk about the importance of reading. Durham's the town of the university's in. The importance of reading, as well as reading from a book, and discussing the importance of receiving a high school diploma and going on to college. I also believe that sports can be a tremendous outlet for young men and women to develop persistence, discipline, and teamwork, or a spirit of cooperation with other people. Take care and remember to always try your best. Sincerely, Mike Krzyzewski, head coach, Duke basketball. To the students of Lakeview. So cool. So thank you very much, Mr. Griswold, for sharing that with us in our school and reaching out to Duke basketball. I'm proud and honored to even have that sitting on my desk. That is very special. So I wanted to share that today. All right. So let's move on and bring in Mrs. Mann and Miss Conklin for Admit One. How are y'all doing today?
Awesome.
A little tired today. It's the middle of the week.
It is. And Mrs. Mann, I know you're a big college basketball fan, so you definitely know Coach Krzyzewski, who he is, don't you?
Okay. And work he has on the court and off the court with his kids.
Yep. Amazing. Amazing. Well, what do we have today for Admit 1?
We are going to talk about grit this morning, something that we haven't talked about yet.
Coach did in his letter, he said developing persistence and discipline. I think that has something to do with it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Mrs. Mann has a really good video for you on grit.
All right.
And not to give anything away, but I want you to keep these words in mind, and it's going to say it in the video, but grit is persistence, like Coach K mentioned, and resiliency, which is one of our Miller 5 character traits. So persistence and resiliency. So let's take a look at the video.
This is a story about grit and why it might just be the key to your success. So what the heck is grit? Well, officially, it's the combination of persistence and resilience. Big words, huh? Persistence means you keep going even when the going gets tough, and you stay focused on the task without getting distracted. Resilience is toughness. When you get knocked down, you bounce back up and try again. When you have both of these qualities, we call that grit. And once you have grit, you can learn anything. But why is grit so important to learning? Because when things are easy and you're coasting along, it's nice. It might even be fun for a while, but you're not learning. Learning comes from struggle, from trying and failing, then learning from your mistakes. Remember when you first learned to ride a bike, or swim, or play an instrument, or do long division? It seems impossible at first, and if you gave up after the first try, it would be. But you're persistent. You keep trying. You start to get the hang of it. You practice, you work at it a little bit at a time, and eventually it starts to get easier for you. You learn from your mistakes, and the more you work, the easier it gets. But remember, learning is hard work. That's why you need grit. Because the key to success in school and life is how you react when things don't go your way. So the next time you're struggling with something in your life, or in your science book, just remember, it's part of learning, and with a little hard work and a lot of grit, you can do things that once seemed impossible.
Cool.
So I like the examples that he gave as far as when you learn to ride a bike, when you learn to swim. Some of you are learning to play an instrument right now. Others of you have been practicing for several years, but that's what it takes. It takes that practice.
I want to talk about something that we think about when we look at the word grit. So each letter in the word grit means something. So the G, when you look at the G, I want you to say, I'm going to give it my all. When you look at the R, I want you to remember to redo it as necessary, because that's part of our growth mindset. An I means ignore giving up. So you're just going to totally put that out of your mind. Giving up is not an option. And the T means take your time and do it right. Okay, so think about all of those things when you look at the word grit. Every single one of those is part of our mindset, our growth mindset series. We want to make sure that we can redo it as many times as we need to get it right.
That's exactly right. So remember what we said at the beginning. Grit is persistence plus resilience. And they told us persistence is when you keep going and stay focused. When he was riding up that hill, he saw the polar bear on the unicycle. Well, that would get my attention, but that gets me off focus and I forget what I'm doing. So be persistent, Keep going and stay focused and be resilient. And that's when you get knocked down, you get right back up and you keep going and don't give up. Because like they said, learning is hard work for all of us. So stretch those brains. Remember, your brain is like a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets.
Awesome. Great message today, ladies. And yeah, I agree. There's so many times, like right now, just for me in my life, in my job, it's taking more grit this year. And I think it is for our teachers and students as well, because of the COVID thing and dealing with everything. We're not able to learn the way we normally do, not able to have liftoff in the gym like we normally do. It takes some grit. Like there's lots of obstacles coming our way this year, but our students and teachers are showing lots of grit. I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's bring in Miss Tazi. Good morning, Miss Tazi. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking.
All right. Let's bring back in Liftoff because it is time for the corny joke of the day. This one's a good one because we're getting closer to Halloween. This one's a student submission. And I appreciate all the students who've been sharing jokes with me. The best way to do that is to send it to me in Schoology, just because then it's written down. I've got students who stop me in the hallway, and I love that because you make me laugh right then. And I oftentimes I need that smile. So don't stop doing that. But it always helps if you want me to potentially share. And I get a lot, so I may not be able to share them all, but I'm going to try. You can send them to me in Schoology, and that's the best way because then they're written down for me, and that helps Mr. Hine out because I'm old and forgetful sometimes. All right, so today's corny joke of the day, ladies. Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance?
Why?
What about rattling bones?
He had nobody to go with. So October starts tomorrow. Halloween's coming. So there's a skeleton joke from Macy Hatcher. Thank you, Macy, for sharing that one with me. I appreciate it. That was a great corny joke of the day. All right, Miss Conklin, thank you for brightening our day with our Admit 1. And Miss Tazi, let's get started. We are going to go right into our pledges because we'll do from now on, we're going to do our student creed on Mondays, and we will go right to the pledges at this time.
All right, please quietly stand up and get ready for our flag salutes. Your right hand is over your heart, and you're reading aloud with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for our Oklahoma flag salute. I salute the flag of the state of Oklahoma. Its symbols of peace unite all people. And now for a moment of silence. During this time, you can reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activity.
All right. Thank you very much, friends. And remember, today is Wacky Wednesday in 4th and 5th grade. So 4th and 5th graders, this is the day that we switch schedules a bit. So just follow your teacher's directions on that. You may not be totally used to that. It does not affect 6th grade. But if you're wondering why we call it Wacky Wednesday, that's why 4th and 5th graders switch their schedules up a bit. So let's have a great, wonderful Wacky Wednesday. Miss Tazi, let's launch it.
All right.
We are
Lakeview.
We are not
Average.
We will strive
For the Miller 5.
And whatever it takes, we will
Grow.
3, 2, 1.
Lift off.
All right. Have a wonderful Wednesday, Lakeview. We'll see you down the hallway soon.